Hello and welcome back. I am currently just a smidge, a little update before we get going. I am currently still feeling like blah, but I'm here because I love showing up for you on this podcast. And I also just want to show you that, even when you don't feel great, you can still do things that you love, right? And one of the things I love to do is show up here for you and be here for you. So, to be honest, I shared this on Instagram. I thought about doing another episode on just, what I'm feeling, how I'm navigating, a potential either COVID long haul, even though I technically don't have or didn't have a diagnosis of COVID ever. And or chronic fatigue syndrome that can come from some viruses. And I've had two viruses in the last 2 months. So, uh, all that to say, I thought about coming on and sharing with you a little bit more about what's going on, how I'm navigating that. But I just didn't feel like there was a point to that. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, if you want me to come back on in, a couple weeks and share where I'm at, I'm glad to do that. You just have to let me know. But I'm navigating it the best I can. And, I will keep you posted. If you follow me on social media, you know that I'll keep you posted there. And yeah, so that being said, Riley's actually in my lap today. Riker's somewhere around here. He was actually upset that Riley was sitting in my lap because he started sitting on my lap, then left, and then she came in. So he's upset that she took his spot because he's very jealous of anyone who gets anything that he doesn't. So, he's the male diva in our family and Riley's the female diva. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can see part of Riley's head. We'll see if we can get a little bit more of it in there. There you go, Riles, your debut here on the podcast. But you know what? We're gonna dive right into this episode. Oh, look at that pretty face of yours in the camera there. We're going to dive right into this episode. I still have my squirrel brainness. That hasn't been affected. But today I really want to talk to you about kombucha because it is something that in my wildest dreams, I never thought I would be someone either one, drinking it or two, promoting it. Just because the hang up behind what I thought it would taste like, and it doesn't taste anything like what I thought it would. I don't know. In my mind, I felt like it was going to taste like sauerkraut, which sounds gross, right? But because I know sauerkraut is fermented, obviously it's not even made of the same things. But I just in my mind, I was like, ooh, I don't like sauerkraut, so there's no way I'm gonna like kombucha because if it's fermented something, I just don't want it, right? But I'm here to tell you that one, I've been on a kombucha kick for the past couple of weeks. It's definitely been something that has made me feel a little bit better, and it's giving me some great nutrients. And it's just a very healthy, all around good for you beverage. If you have the option to select kombucha as your drink, that would definitely, at this point in time, knowing what I know and how I feel when I drink it, that would for me definitely be something I would opt to drink, as opposed to say my typical water or just, unsweetened iced tea. Those are typically my two go-tos. So today, what I want to share with you really is just we're going to dive into, what is kombucha, how's it made? And then I'm going to share with you, in my personal opinion, 5 really awesome reasons for you to consider drinking it. Now, it doesn't mean you have to drink it every day. It doesn't mean you have to drink it all the time, right? It could be, just something that you weave into, your routine once a month or twice a month or something, depending on how you see fit and depending on whether, you truly actually like the taste or not. There are so many different brands, so many different good brands that we'll talk about. Today, I'll share with you my favorite brand that I love. I've actually only drank this particular brand, but I know that there are other good brands. And so I'll share those other good brands with you too. But I'll also share with you, I just went to the grocery store before recording this. And I was looking at 2 of the other really popular, very well-known brands, and they just have a lot of added sugar, whereas the brand that I like has sugar, but it's not added, right? It's just part of the natural process of making the drink. So that's something to look out for, is you don't want to be getting kombuchas that are chock full of added sugars or just chock full of sugars in general, because that's really not doing you any favors. So that being said, let's go ahead and just dive in to this episode. If you want more information about this, as always, all you have to do is reach out to me. You can reach out to me through my email. You can reach out to me through social media. Any way you want to. Those are really the two main ways you can do so. But yeah, just feel free to let me know your thoughts on this. If you have any other questions that maybe I can answer related to this that I don't answer potentially in this episode, I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to do any follow-ups and any one-on-one conversations with you if needed. So like I said, let's go ahead and dive in. So again, what is kombucha, right? Let's talk about that first. So kombucha is actually made. It's really cool. You can actually make it yourself. But in all the research that I did too, it's very highly frowned upon for you to do it yourself because there are a lot of things that could, quote unquote, go wrong. So it's better to put your trust in a trusted brand. And I'll share those later in the podcast episode, than to try and pretend like you know what you're doing and end up, wreaking havoc on your body because of the potential harmful effects that could come from you making it incorrectly or, missing a step or whatnot. And it can actually be very harmful to the point where it can cause death. So we just don't want that to happen, right? So again, I would strongly encourage that you buy a brand, but how are these brands doing it? So it's made through actually adding specific strains of bacteria and yeast and sugar to black or green tea. Now, the brand that I particularly like, that I'll share later with you, uses both green and black tea together. So sometimes it's just strictly green tea in the kombuchas that you might see. Sometimes it's just strictly black tea, and sometimes it's a combination of the two. So like I said, the one that I really like, the brand that I really like, they typically use black and green tea combined to make their kombuchas. And then they allow that to ferment. So they allow that concoction, if you will, to ferment for a week or more. Okay. Now, it's important to note that when the fermenting happens, just like when you ferment grapes and you make it into wine, there is actually some trace alcohol content in this. So typically what happens is there's usually about a 3% 3% trace, or whatever you want to call it, 3% visible. I'm not sure what I'm trying to look for here. 3%. There is 3% in the drink, right, of alcohol, or the percentage of alcohol in the drink is 3%. There we go. My brain is just, what the H? So there's 3% alcohol in most of kombuchas. However, when they are sold at the store, right, when they're sold in store, they're only allowed to have 0.5% of alcohol content. So you will never see on the shelves, because they're not allowed, it's just the way it is, you'll never see a 3% unless, potentially you're going to some place where they card you for it or whatnot, or again, you make it yourself, which I strongly discourage. How they do that, I'm not quite sure. I didn't read into that because I wasn't super interested in that, but just know that there is a trace alcohol content in kombucha, but it is 0.5% of alcohol. And me drinking it, I didn't even notice that, right? I mean, it's so little that it's not something you notice. So yeah, that's how it's made. And then what I really want to talk about for most of our time together today, what I really want to talk about is the reasons why I think you should test it out, or if you have tested it out and you're like, I don't know, the reasons why I feel like you should go back and give it another chance, right? So let's go ahead and let's talk about those 5 things. All right. So the first thing is that it's a great source of probiotics. Okay. So we know that probiotics can provide our gut with healthy bacteria, and these bacteria can improve many aspects of our health, including our digestion, including reduced inflammation, and even often weight loss, right? Because if you're getting rid of this ucky bacteria in your body, it's going to allow you to process and digest food better. And that also means then your body's going to work better, which means you might, be able to shed some pounds if that's something that you're looking to do. All right. The second reason would be that it has similar benefits to green tea. So yes, green tea sometimes is in kombucha, depending on, like I said, whether it's made strictly with green tea, strictly with black tea, or a combination of the two. But it has kombucha overall in its entirety, when it's made, has some similar benefits to green tea because it does contain polyphenols, which we know function as powerful antioxidants in the body. And those antioxidants in the body are responsible for helping us clear out free radicals in our body that can lead to and cause disease. So some other benefits that green tea has that your kombucha could also potentially have, because it is connected to green tea, would be that it can help you increase the number of calories burned. So it can increase or speed up your metabolism. It thus can then help you to reduce belly fat. There are also studies that show that it can improve cholesterol levels. It can also help with blood sugar control. And it's also been shown to reduce the risk of many cancers, including prostate, breast, and colon cancer, believe it or not. So that's pretty incredible, right? For it to be able to help you in so many different facets and areas of your life. So the third thing that I would tell you is a bonus or a benefit to drinking kombucha would be that it can kill bacteria. So like we said, it contains beneficial bacteria, right? Because it is a natural probiotic, but it can also help kill off bad bacteria. So the acidic acids that form during the fermentation process can actually help kill off harmful bacteria and even candida yeast, which we all have candida in our body, but sometimes those of us who have a candida overgrowth means we have more than we should have in our body, which leads to a whole host of other problems, right? So it can be a great way for you to help really get rid of some of that excess unwanted bacteria and yeast in your body, which, then again, is going to make you feel a lot better too. And again, I don't want to make this sound like it's this cure-all drink that's going to make everything perfect, right? Nothing out there is going to do that for you, but it can definitely support you in the things that you're doing to help your body heal and help your body become the healthiest version of itself. So that was number 3. And then number 4 would be that it actually has been shown to help reduce heart disease risk. And research shows that it also can support the reduction of LDL, which is your bad cholesterol, and increase your HDL, which is your good cholesterol, in as little as 30 days. Also, just, as a side note, green tea drinkers have up to a 31% lower risk of developing heart disease. And researchers are saying that this could actually apply to kombucha too, because it is made from green tea oftentimes. So that's pretty freaking awesome. I mean, I love green tea to begin with. I love the taste. I love it. It tastes good. But to know that kombucha also can have some of those same benefits is just, I'm like, okay, I am here for it. Let's do this. And then lastly, but definitely not least, would be that it can help those who have type 2 diabetes. It can help them to manage their type 2 diabetes. So if you didn't know, type 2 diabetes is really classified as having high blood sugar and insulin resistance. And so drinking kombucha, through the research, we found that it actually helps to slower the digestion of carbs, which then therefore reduces the blood sugar levels in your body. So I think that's just, all in all, the drink is just, it's like a wonder drink in my opinion. And I'm kind of kicking myself inside, figuratively, because I, for so long, had a stigma towards kombucha. And now, knowing what I know, I'm like, shoot, I would have drank this like 10 years ago, a decade ago, if I knew what I know now, right? But hindsight's 2020. And I guess not what I necessarily knew, but if I would have branched out and tried it, right? But hindsight's 2020, like I said, and it is what it is. And I'm drinking it now, and I know the benefits, and I love the taste. So it's just a perfect. I'm just happy all around about that. But as I start to wrap this up, I want to share with you, like I mentioned at the beginning, I want to share with you some brands that you can look for, some trusted brands that I would recommend. And that if you do any sort of research on the best brands. Woo, Riley just had some major gas and now it is wafting up into my face. So if you see me waving at my nose at the screen, that's because she just had a big toot. Probably because she just had some jerky. So some doggy jerky. It is what it is. Anyways, I digress. I'm going to share with you, let's see, 1, 2, 5. I'm going to share with you 5 brands. 3 of them are at my local grocery store. I actually found 3 of them there today when I was shopping. And I only ended up getting the one that I really like so far because now I can actually tell you why that is. So the reason why I am personally drinking GT Synergy, that's the one that I personally have drank. I haven't had any of the others that I'm about to share with you. I would recommend them because they are high quality. But for me personally, I haven't wanted to drink them because many of theirs have added sugar, whereas the GT Synergy, all the ones that I've tried don't have added sugar. So there's just the natural sugar that's in there, which is, part of the fermentation process. So it's not anything that you're going to get rid of. And it's just a natural sugar that's in there. Furthermore, the GT Synergies have the lowest amount of sugar that I found too, out of the 3 that I saw at the store. So the 3 that I saw at the store were GT Synergy, which I stocked up and got 3 more today. Then they also have the Health Aid Organic Kombucha and the Brew Doctors Organic Kombucha. So they have those 3 at my store, my grocery store that I go to. They may have had these other 2. I just didn't notice them. But I'm gonna share all of these, and then you can definitely do your own research and look at your own grocery store and see what they have to offer. But again, I have only I've only drank the GT Synergy and I absolutely love it. So I'm kind of hesitant to even try anything else because I'm like, is it going to live up to GT Synergy? Because I absolutely love GT Synergy. But I digress. The 5 brands total would be then GT Synergy. That's my fave and the only one I've tried. Health Aid Organic Kombucha, Brew Doctors Organic Kombucha, Wild Kombucha, and then Rowdy Mermaid Kombucha. That one sounds cute. I would love to eventually hopefully try that one if it's not loaded with added sugars. But those were the top 5 that I found in my research that are high quality, trusted brands. And like I said, you can find in all of those brands some that are that are not loaded with added sugars. It's just unfortunately the ones that were available at my grocery store in the Health Aid brand and the Brew Doctor brand, they all had added sugars. And I'm like, no, I'm not about that life anymore, especially since, I just recently did that podcast episode on really why we should be avoiding added sugars and just, excess sugar in general. So yeah, that is that for today. If there is anything that you want me to share more about in relationship to this topic, or if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, shoot me a DM on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, or you can also reach out to me through the email through my kellybholisticwellness@gmail.com. And then also come join us over in the podcast Facebook community. I guess you could reach out to me there too, but it's technically part of my social media presence, right? So definitely come join us because tomorrow, or I should say today, because I'm recording this the day before, but today, Monday, at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time inside the podcast Facebook community, we are going to be doing our monthly chat with an expert. And we're going to be having a burnout mentor coming in to chat with us. She was recently on the podcast. She was also one of my clients, one of my holistic nutrition clients, Audrey Rose. So she's going to be chatting with us at 8 p.m. Eastern time tonight. So if you want to come over and join us there, please, please, please do. There will be a recording, but we always love to have you live. And you could also live ask questions too. So that's the benefit of being there live. And it'll just be a short 15 to 20 minute conversation on there. Any questions you have, bring them. And yeah, I would love to have you. There's a link to the podcast Facebook community in the show notes. So if you have not gotten in on the goodness of the podcast Facebook community, come join us over there. We're 82 strong and growing. So come join us. Weekly movement sessions are about to be starting up again in November, so I'm pumped for that. And yeah, I'm just super freaking excited for all the other goodies that I have, the other good things that I have in store for us to come. So come join us tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for that expert chat with my girl Audrey Rose on burnout and how to really process that, how to navigate that in an effective way. And she's just so relatable. So come join us for that. And like I said, if you're listening to this later, you can always catch the replay. And yeah, the link to join us is in the show notes, baby. So yeah. All right. I hope you have a wonderful Monday, a wonderful start to your week, and we will chat later. Bye.